Welcome to the Buddhist audio bookshelf. Today, we invite you to explore the profound teachings of the Dhammapada in our segment titled, The True Meaning of Authenticity and Inner Peace in Modern Life. Join us on this enlightening journey into the Buddha's wisdom. If you find value in these teachings, please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps spread this timeless wisdom to others. You can also listen to us on YouTube podcasts with ease. Simply download the YouTube Music app, and search for our channel, Buddhist Audio Bookshelf. One of the great benefits of listening through the music podcast is that it uses less battery and data, allowing you to listen while keeping the screen off. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to sharing more teachings with you. Introduction: The True Meaning of Authenticity and Inner Peace in Modern Life. In a world that is more connected than ever yet often feels more disconnected at the same time, many of us struggle with finding genuine peace and authenticity. Our culture today, dominated by social media, fast-paced lifestyles, and the pursuit of external validation, places enormous pressure on us to appear successful, virtuous, or happy. We present carefully curated images of ourselves to the world, aiming to fit in or be admired, while often feeling a deep sense of disconnect between the person we present and the person we truly are inside. This struggle between outer appearance and inner reality has been a human experience for centuries, and even the Buddha addressed it directly. In one verse of the Dhammapada, the Buddha provides a profound teaching about authenticity, integrity, and the importance of self-discipline. Whoever, being depraved, devoid of self-control and truthfulness, should don the monk's yellow robe, he surely is not worthy of the robe. Dhammapada, verse 9. This verse may seem to speak primarily to monks or those on a dedicated spiritual path, but its wisdom extends far beyond religious robes. It serves as a powerful reminder to all of us about the importance of living with authenticity, self-discipline, and truthfulness in every aspect of our lives. At its core, the Buddha's message is that appearances mean nothing without the inner qualities to match. In today's world, this teaching holds even more weight as many of us wear metaphorical robes, whether in our careers, relationships, or social circles, that don't reflect our true selves. The struggle for authenticity in a world of appearances. In modern society, we are bombarded with messages that encourage us to focus on how we look, what we own, and how others perceive us. Social media has become a primary platform for people to display their lives, often highlighting only the best, most polished aspects. But behind these photos and posts, many people feel anxiety, loneliness, or dissatisfaction because they know that the image they present is not a true reflection of their inner reality. The Buddha's teaching about the yellow robe offers a timeless metaphor for this modern struggle. The robe represents not just an outward symbol of spirituality, but the deeper qualities of self-control, truthfulness, and integrity that should accompany it. When someone wears the robe but lacks these inner virtues, they are not truly worthy of the symbol they display. Similarly, when we present ourselves as confident, successful, or happy on the outside, but internally struggle with unresolved emotions, insecurities, or ethical conflicts, we are also not living in alignment with our true selves. The pressure to maintain appearances often leads to feelings of inadequacy, as we constantly compare our behind-the-scenes struggles with others' highlight reels. This disconnect can result in chronic stress, anxiety, and a sense of inner emptiness. The Buddha's teaching calls us to focus on cultivating the qualities that truly matter: truthfulness, self-discipline, and authenticity, rather than getting caught up in how we appear to others. The impact of hypocrisy on our mental and emotional well-being. At the heart of this teaching is a warning against hypocrisy, presenting oneself as something one is not. Hypocrisy isn't just about deceiving others, it's also about deceiving ourselves. When we live inauthentically, pretending to be something we are not, it creates a deep inner conflict. We become split between the person we are and the person we are trying to appear to be. This split can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, and anxiety, as we are constantly aware, on some level, that we are living a lie. In the workplace, for example, many people feel pressure to project confidence and competence even when they are struggling. In relationships, we may feel the need to appear emotionally strong and unaffected, even when we are hurting or vulnerable. Over time, these attempts to hide our true feelings or struggles can lead to burnout, emotional exhaustion, and even depression. Living with this kind of inner disconnect can have far-reaching consequences. When we are not honest with ourselves about our own emotions, limitations, or needs, we are unable to take steps to address them. Instead, we push ourselves harder to maintain the facade, often at the expense of our mental and emotional well-being. The Buddhist teaching encourages us to look beyond the superficial and to recognize the importance of living truthfully and authentically, both with ourselves and with others. Self-control and emotional mastery in today's world. Another critical aspect of the Buddhist teaching in this verse is the importance of self-control. In a world that constantly bombards us with distractions, temptations, and emotional triggers, self-control can feel like an uphill battle. Our modern lives are filled with instant gratification, from social media notifications to online shopping, from comfort food to binge-watching shows. The allure of quick fixes and immediate rewards can easily lead us to act impulsively, whether it's through excessive spending, overeating, or saying things in anger that we later regret. However, the Buddha's message reminds us that true peace and happiness come from mastering our impulses, not being controlled by them. Self-control, in this context, is not about denying ourselves pleasures or being overly rigid. Rather, it is about cultivating the ability to pause, reflect, and make conscious choices. When we develop self-control, we free ourselves from the cycle of reacting to every emotional trigger or external temptation. Instead of being led by our cravings, frustrations, or fears, we are able to make choices that align with our deeper values and long-term well-being. Practicing self-control is particularly important in managing our emotions. In today's fast-paced world, stress, anger, and frustration are common experiences. Without self-control, these emotions can easily lead us to lash out at others, make rash decisions, or say things we don't mean. Over time, unchecked emotions can damage our relationships, harm our reputation, and create ongoing conflict in our lives. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, we can learn to observe our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. When anger arises, instead of immediately reacting, we can pause and reflect on the consequences of our actions. When we feel the urge to indulge in unhealthy habits, we can step back and consider how these choices will affect our long-term well-being. In this way, self-control becomes a path to greater peace, as we learn to navigate life's challenges with a sense of calm and clarity. Truthfulness is a foundation for meaningful relationships. Truthfulness is another key component of the Buddha's teaching in this verse, and it is especially relevant in today's interpersonal relationships. Whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional settings, honesty is the foundation of trust. Without trust, relationships cannot flourish. Yet, many of us find it difficult to be fully honest, whether out of fear of conflict, rejection, or judgment. In today's culture, where communication is often filtered through digital platforms and where personal interactions can be shallow or transactional, the importance of truthfulness cannot be overstated. Being truthful does not just mean avoiding lies, it means being transparent and authentic in our interactions. It means expressing our true feelings, desires, and boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. It means being willing to have difficult conversations, rather than avoiding them out of fear. When we are truthful with others, we build stronger, more meaningful connections. People are drawn to authenticity, and relationships based on honesty are more resilient and fulfilling. Conversely, when we withhold the truth, whether through small, white lies, or by avoiding difficult subjects, our relationships suffer. Trust erodes, and misunderstandings or resentments can fester. Being truthful with ourselves is equally important. Many of us, whether consciously or unconsciously, avoid facing certain truths about our lives, our choices, or our emotions. We may tell ourselves that we're happy in a situation when we're not, or that we're capable of handling more than we actually are. But self-deception, like deception toward others, ultimately leads to inner turmoil. By being honest with ourselves, we can make the necessary changes to live more authentically and in alignment with our true values. Cultivating peace through integrity and alignment. The Buddhist teaching on the yellow robe is not just about monks or those on a dedicated spiritual path. It's about the importance of living a life that is aligned with our inner values. When our actions are in harmony with our principles, when we practice self-control, truthfulness, and authenticity, we experience a deep sense of inner peace. In today's world, many people are searching for peace and happiness through external means, whether it's through material success, validation from others, or the pursuit of pleasure. But as the Buddha teaches, true peace comes from within. It comes from living with integrity, from being honest with ourselves and others, and from cultivating the discipline to make choices that support our long-term well-being. When we live in alignment with our values, we are no longer driven by the need to impress others or maintain a false image. Instead, we can focus on what truly matters: our personal growth, our relationships, and our inner peace. This way of living may not always be easy, especially in a culture that prioritizes appearances and quick fixes. But it is the path to true fulfillment. Embracing the robe of authenticity. The Buddhist teaching in this verse challenges us to look beyond the surface and focus on what really matters: our inner character, our truthfulness, and our ability to control our impulses. In today's society, where appearances often take precedence over authenticity, this teaching serves as a reminder that true peace and happiness come from living in alignment with our values. By embracing these timeless principles, we can free ourselves from the pressure to conform to external expectations and instead focus on cultivating the qualities that lead to lasting peace: authenticity, self-discipline, and truthfulness. In doing so, we not only find greater fulfillment in our own lives, but we also create more meaningful connections with others and contribute to a more compassionate, authentic society. The yellow robe of a monk, in Buddhist tradition, is a profound symbol. It represents not just a commitment to the monastic life, but also a deeper pledge to live with purity, discipline, and integrity. When the Buddha said, "Whoever, being depraved, devoid of self-control and truthfulness, should don the monk's yellow robe, he surely is not worthy of the robe," he was pointing to a universal truth that transcends time and culture. This teaching applies not only to monks but to all of us as we navigate the complexities of modern life. In today's world, where we often judge ourselves and others based on external appearances, the essence of this teaching is more relevant than ever. It serves as a reminder that what truly matters is not how we present ourselves to the world, but how aligned we are with our inner values. We may not wear literal robes like monks, but we all wear metaphorical robes: our roles as professionals, parents, friends, and community members. And just like the monk's robe, these roles require us to live with authenticity, truthfulness, and self-control. But how do we embody these qualities in a world filled with pressures, distractions, and temptations? How do we ensure that the robe we wear is one of integrity and not merely a facade? In today's society, one of the greatest challenges we face is the obsession with image. Social media, advertising, and the constant barrage of information create an environment where appearances often take precedence over substance. We live in a culture where we are encouraged to curate our lives for public consumption, whether through perfectly filtered photos on Instagram or carefully worded posts on LinkedIn. The pressure to present an idealized version of ourselves is immense, and it's easy to lose sight of who we truly are beneath the surface. This pressure to conform to societal expectations can lead to a deep sense of disconnection from ourselves and from others. We might find ourselves pretending to be someone we are not in order to gain approval or avoid judgment. We may take on roles or responsibilities that don't align with our true values, simply because we feel it's what's expected of us. Over time, this dissonance between our inner selves and outer personas can create feelings of emptiness, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. The Buddha's teaching about the unworthiness of the robe is a call to authenticity. It invites us to examine the ways in which we might be wearing robes, roles or identities that don't reflect who we truly are. Are we pursuing careers, relationships, or lifestyles that are in alignment with our values, or are we simply following the path that others have laid out for us? Are we acting out of a desire to fit in or impress others, or are we making choices that come from a place of integrity? To live authentically means to align our actions, words, and choices with our deepest values. This is not always easy, especially in a world that constantly pulls us in different directions. But the rewards of living authentically are profound. When we let go of the need to impress others or conform to societal expectations, we find a sense of freedom. We no longer have to expend energy maintaining a false image or living up to unrealistic standards. Instead, we can focus on what truly matters, living a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling to us. One way to cultivate authenticity in modern life is through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us develop awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and motivations. It allows us to see when we are acting out of fear, insecurity, or a desire for approval, and gives us the space to choose a different path. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. This awareness creates a buffer between our impulses and our actions, allowing us to make choices that are aligned with our values rather than reactive to external pressures. For example, consider how often we may feel compelled to say yes to things we don't truly want to do, whether it's taking on extra work, attending a social event, or agreeing to a favor for someone else. We may do this out of a desire to please others, avoid conflict, or fit in. But when we say yes to things that aren't in alignment with our true desires, we betray ourselves. Over time, this can lead to burnout, resentment, and a sense of disconnection from our own needs and values. Mindfulness can help us break this pattern. By becoming aware of our habitual tendencies to people-please or seek approval, we can begin to make more conscious choices. Instead of automatically agreeing to things out of fear or obligation, we can pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, is this something I truly want to do? Does it align with my values? Will it bring me closer to the life I want to live? This simple practice of pausing and checking in with ourselves can lead to a profound shift in how we live our lives. Another important aspect of living authentically is developing self-control. In the Buddha's teaching, the absence of self-control is a key factor in rendering someone unworthy of the robe. Self-control is about more than just resisting temptations. It's about cultivating the inner strength to stay true to our values, even when it's difficult. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions and temptations abound, self-control is an essential skill for living a meaningful life. We are constantly bombarded with opportunities to indulge in instant gratification, whether it's through mindless scrolling on social media, unhealthy eating habits, or impulsive spending. While these behaviors may provide temporary relief or pleasure, they often lead to long-term dissatisfaction and regret. Without self-control, we become slaves to our impulses, chasing short-term rewards at the expense of our deeper values and goals. Developing self-control requires us to cultivate awareness of our impulses and practice delaying gratification. This doesn't mean denying ourselves all pleasures or living a life of deprivation. Rather, it's about making conscious choices that are aligned with our long-term well-being rather than giving into fleeting desires. For example, we might choose to limit our screen time in order to spend more time on activities that nourish our minds and bodies, like reading, exercising, or spending time with loved ones. Or we might practice mindful eating, savoring each bite and being aware of our hunger and fullness cues, rather than mindlessly consuming food out of habit or emotion. Self-control also extends to our emotional lives. In moments of anger, frustration, or fear, it's easy to react impulsively, whether by lashing out at someone, making a rash decision, or numbing ourselves with distractions. But when we lack control over our emotions, we often end up creating more suffering for ourselves and others. Practicing self-control in these moments means pausing, taking a breath, and responding with intention rather than reacting from a place of emotion. This not only helps us maintain inner peace but also strengthens our relationships and fosters a sense of trust and stability in our lives. Truthfulness is another key component of worthiness in the Buddha's teaching. In today's world, where misinformation and deception are rampant, truthfulness is more important than ever. Being truthful means not only speaking the truth to others but also being honest with ourselves. It requires us to acknowledge our own limitations, mistakes, and desires, rather than hiding behind a facade of perfection or pretending to be someone we're not. When we are truthful, we build trust with others and with ourselves. Trust is the foundation of all healthy relationships, whether personal or professional. Without trust, relationships are built on shaky ground and are prone to conflict, misunderstanding, and disappointment. Truthfulness also fosters a sense of inner peace, as we no longer have to expend energy maintaining a false image or hiding from the truth. We can be at ease with ourselves, knowing that we are living in alignment with our values and principles. However, truthfulness doesn't mean being harsh or blunt. It's important to balance honesty with kindness and compassion. There are times when the truth may be difficult to hear, and how we deliver it matters. Practicing truthfulness with compassion means being mindful of how our words affect others and delivering the truth in a way that is supportive and constructive. Living authentically, with self-control and truthfulness, is not always easy, especially in a world that often prioritizes image over substance and short-term gains over long-term fulfillment. But the rewards of living this way are profound. When we align our actions with our values, we experience a deep sense of peace and satisfaction. We no longer have to wear the metaphorical robes of pretense or deception. Instead, we can embrace our true selves, live with integrity, and create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. The Buddhist teaching reminds us that it's not the robe itself that holds value, but the qualities of the person wearing it. Whether we are monks, professionals, parents, or friends, what matters most is that we live with authenticity, self-control, and truthfulness. By doing so, we not only bring peace to our own lives but also contribute to a more honest, compassionate, and harmonious world. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be, what we should achieve, and how we should present ourselves to others. Social media, advertising, and popular culture place immense pressure on individuals to project an image of success, happiness, and perfection. Yet, underneath these glossy exteriors, many people struggle with feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and unhappiness. This disconnection between how we present ourselves to the world and our inner reality is one of the defining issues of our time. It's a form of modern-day hypocrisy, where we try to live up to a version of ourselves that isn't authentic, leading to stress, anxiety, and a sense of emptiness. The Buddha's teaching on the dangers of hypocrisy speaks directly to this issue. The verse, "Whoever, being depraved, devoid of self-control and truthfulness, should don the monk's yellow robe, he surely is not worthy of the robe," highlights the importance of authenticity and integrity. Just as a monk's robe symbolizes a commitment to purity and truth, our outward actions and appearances should align with our inner values and beliefs. When we try to present ourselves as something we are not, we not only deceive others but also ourselves, creating a life built on false foundations. Over time, this disconnect can lead to profound suffering. The problem of image versus reality in modern culture. One of the most pervasive examples of this disconnect in today's culture is the rise of social media. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok encourage people to share curated versions of their lives, often focusing on material success, beauty, or happiness. The more likes and followers one has, the more validation they seem to receive, reinforcing the idea that their value is tied to how they are perceived online. However, behind these carefully edited photos and posts, many people experience feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and inadequacy. This constant need to maintain an image of success or happiness creates a vicious cycle. People feel pressured to keep up appearances, even when they are struggling in their personal lives. As a result, they may become disconnected from their true selves, prioritizing external validation over genuine self-reflection and growth. This dissonance can lead to a sense of inner emptiness, as the external success or approval they chase does not satisfy their deeper emotional and spiritual needs. The problem of image versus reality is not limited to social media. In the workplace, many people feel the need to wear the robe of professionalism, even when they are overworked, stressed, or unfulfilled. They may pretend to enjoy their jobs, suppressing their dissatisfaction or emotional struggles, because they fear being judged or perceived as weak. In relationships, individuals may feel pressured to present a facade of being in a perfect partnership, even when there are underlying issues, because they want to fit the societal ideal of a happy couple. This culture of inauthenticity and pressure to present a perfect image is harmful. It causes individuals to feel disconnected from their true selves and from others, as meaningful connections require honesty and vulnerability. When we wear a mask to hide our true emotions or experiences, we prevent ourselves from forming deep, genuine relationships. This can lead to feelings of isolation and unhappiness, even when we appear to have everything we need on the surface. How hypocrisy harms our well-being. The Buddhist teaching on hypocrisy is not just a moral lesson, it is a practical guide to living a life of peace and authenticity. When we pretend to be something we are not, we create internal conflict. This conflict arises because our actions are not aligned with our true thoughts, feelings, and values. As a result, we may feel anxious, guilty, or dissatisfied, even when everything seems perfect on the outside. Hypocrisy also harms our relationships with others. Trust is the foundation of all meaningful connections, whether with friends, family, or colleagues. When we are not truthful about who we are, what we feel, or what we believe, we erode that trust. People may sense that we are being insincere, even if they cannot pinpoint why, and this can lead to a breakdown in communication and understanding. On a larger scale, when entire communities or organizations operate under a facade of falsehood, it creates a culture of distrust and superficiality, where genuine connection and cooperation become difficult. Furthermore, living in a state of hypocrisy prevents us from experiencing true happiness. Happiness, in the Buddhist sense, is not found in external achievements or the validation of others. It comes from inner peace, contentment, and alignment with our values. When our outer actions are disconnected from our inner beliefs, we are constantly at war with ourselves. This internal conflict can manifest as stress, anxiety, or depression, as we struggle to maintain a facade that does not reflect our true selves. Embracing authenticity for a meaningful life. To live a happy and meaningful life, we must embrace authenticity. This means being honest with ourselves about who we are, what we value, and what we need. It also means being willing to show that honesty to others, even when it feels vulnerable or uncomfortable. Authenticity is not about being perfect, it's about being real. One of the first steps in embracing authenticity is practicing self-awareness. We must take time to reflect on our thoughts, feelings, and actions, asking ourselves whether they are truly aligned. Meditation and mindfulness practices can be powerful tools for developing this self-awareness. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, gaining insight into our true selves. We become more aware of the ways in which we may be hiding behind a facade or trying to live up to an unrealistic image. As we cultivate self-awareness, we can begin to make changes in our lives to align our outer actions with our inner values. This might mean making difficult choices, such as leaving a job that doesn't fulfill us, ending a relationship that isn't healthy, or setting boundaries with people who expect us to be someone we are not. These changes can be challenging, but they are necessary for living an authentic and meaningful life. In embracing authenticity, we also learn to let go of the need for external validation. The constant pressure to be liked, admired, or respected by others can lead us to compromise our values or present a false image. When we focus on being true to ourselves, rather than trying to meet others' expectations, we experience a sense of freedom and peace. We no longer feel the need to keep up appearances or prove our worth to others, because we know that our true worth comes from within. Cultivating truthfulness in relationships. Another important aspect of authenticity is truthfulness in our relationships. Many of the problems people face in their relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, stem from a lack of honesty. We may hide our true feelings because we fear conflict, rejection, or judgment. However, this dishonesty only creates more problems in the long run, as unspoken emotions and unresolved issues build up over time. To cultivate truthfulness in relationships, we must practice open and honest communication. This doesn't mean being harsh or blunt, it means speaking from the heart with compassion and respect. When we are honest about our feelings, needs, and boundaries, we create space for deeper connection and understanding. It may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if we are used to suppressing our true thoughts, but over time, this honesty builds trust and strengthens relationships. Truthfulness also means being willing to hear and accept the truth from others. Just as we want to be authentic, we must allow others to be authentic as well. This means letting go of expectations or judgments and accepting people for who they truly are. When both parties in a relationship practice truthfulness, it creates a foundation of mutual respect and trust, allowing the relationship to flourish. Finding peace through integrity. Living authentically and truthfully brings a sense of peace that cannot be found through external achievements or validation. When our actions are aligned with our values, we no longer feel the stress of pretending to be something we are not. We are able to face challenges and difficulties with clarity and confidence, knowing that we are being true to ourselves. Integrity, in this sense, is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about consistently striving to live in accordance with our principles, even when it's difficult. It's about acknowledging when we fall short and making a commitment to do better, without beating ourselves up or feeling ashamed. This self-compassion is key to maintaining integrity, as it allows us to grow and learn without becoming discouraged by setbacks. When we live with integrity, we also inspire others to do the same. Our authenticity and truthfulness create a ripple effect, encouraging those around us to be more honest and genuine in their own lives. This can lead to more meaningful connections, greater understanding, and a sense of community based on trust and mutual respect. The freedom of authentic living. In today's culture of appearances and external validation, the Buddhist teaching on hypocrisy is more relevant than ever. By embracing authenticity, practicing self-awareness, and cultivating truthfulness in our relationships, we can free ourselves from the pressure to live up to false images and expectations. This freedom allows us to live with greater peace, happiness, and fulfillment, as we align our outer actions with our inner values. Living authentically is not always easy, but it is the path to a meaningful life. When we are true to ourselves, we find a sense of inner peace that no external achievement or validation can provide. This is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. The path to true happiness lies not in wearing the robe of success or perfection, but in living with integrity, honesty, and compassion. Truthfulness is a fundamental principle that shapes our relationships, our sense of self, and our overall well-being. In an age where social norms often blur the lines between honesty and deceit, the significance of truthfulness becomes increasingly crucial. This virtue serves not only as a guiding principle for personal integrity but also as a foundation for fostering deep, meaningful connections with others. Living truthfully allows us to navigate the complexities of modern life with clarity and authenticity, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling existence. The importance of truthfulness in relationships. At the core of any meaningful relationship, be it with family, friends, colleagues, or romantic partners, lies trust. Trust is built on the bedrock of honesty. When we are truthful, we cultivate an environment where others feel safe to express themselves. This safety encourages vulnerability, a key ingredient for emotional intimacy and connection. However, in today's fast-paced society, the pressure to conform or fit in can often lead to the temptation of white lies or exaggerations. We might convince ourselves that these small deceptions are harmless, yet they can have far-reaching consequences. When we misrepresent ourselves or hide our true thoughts and feelings, we distance ourselves from authenticity. Over time, this can lead to feelings of isolation, anxiety, and even guilt. Moreover, the proliferation of social media has transformed how we perceive truthfulness. Many individuals curate idealized versions of their lives online, showcasing only the highlights while hiding struggles and vulnerabilities. This curated reality can create a false sense of normalcy, making others feel inadequate in comparison. The resulting disconnect between online personas and real-life struggles often leads to mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. To foster genuine connections, it's vital to embrace transparency in our relationships. This doesn't mean sharing every detail of our lives or venting our frustrations at every opportunity. Rather, it means being honest about our feelings, intentions, and experiences. When we communicate truthfully, we invite others to do the same. This mutual exchange fosters deeper understanding and empathy, creating a solid foundation for trust. The impact of dishonesty. Dishonesty, even in small doses, can have profound implications for our lives. When we deceive others, we not only undermine their trust but also compromise our own integrity. This inconsistency between our actions and values can lead to a cycle of guilt and shame, detracting from our mental well-being. Consider a workplace scenario where an employee exaggerates their accomplishments to gain recognition. Initially, this deception might lead to temporary success or praise. However, once the truth surfaces, whether through a colleague's insight or a missed opportunity, the repercussions can be damaging. The individual risks losing their credibility and the respect of their peers. This chain reaction extends beyond the workplace. It can impact personal relationships, leading to a loss of trust that is difficult to rebuild. Furthermore, dishonesty can create a sense of disconnection within ourselves. When we fail to align our actions with our beliefs, we experience internal conflict. This dissonance can lead to stress and anxiety, hindering our ability to find peace and happiness in our lives. Cultivating truthfulness in our lives. To navigate today's complex landscape, cultivating truthfulness is essential for personal growth and emotional well-being. Here are some practical strategies to help you foster honesty in your life. 1. Practice self-reflection. Self-reflection is the first step toward embracing truthfulness. Take time to examine your thoughts, feelings, and motivations. Ask yourself questions such as: what are my core values? Am I living in alignment with those values? Are there areas in my life where I'm being dishonest with myself or others? Journaling can be a powerful tool for this self-reflection. Writing down your thoughts allows you to externalize your internal struggles, providing clarity and insight. 2. Communicate openly. Honest communication is vital for building trust in any relationship. When discussing sensitive topics, approach conversations with openness and empathy. Use I statements to express your feelings without placing blame. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you might say, "I feel unheard" when our conversations focus only on your experiences. This approach encourages dialogue and fosters a deeper understanding. When facing conflict, aim for transparency. Addressing issues directly, rather than avoiding them, helps to maintain clarity in your relationships. This openness lays the groundwork for collaborative problem solving, allowing both parties to feel heard and respected. 3. Embrace vulnerability. Being truthful requires courage, particularly when it involves exposing our vulnerabilities. Vulnerability is often viewed as a weakness, yet it is, in fact, a strength that can deepen connections. When we share our struggles or uncertainties, we create space for others to do the same. This mutual sharing fosters empathy and understanding. Consider sharing your fears or challenges with someone you trust. By being vulnerable, you invite authentic dialogue that strengthens your relationship. You may find that others appreciate your honesty and feel encouraged to reciprocate. 4. Set boundaries with social media. Given the impact of social media on perceptions of truthfulness, it's essential to set boundaries. Limit your consumption of curated content that may lead to comparison and dissatisfaction. Instead, seek out authentic voices that resonate with your values. Consider curating your social media feed to include individuals and organizations that promote authenticity and transparency. Engage with content that inspires genuine connections rather than superficial comparisons. 5. Adopt a mindfulness practice. Mindfulness encourages present moment awareness and can help cultivate honesty. By developing a mindful approach to your thoughts and feelings, you can recognize when you're tempted to stray from truthfulness. Regular meditation or mindful breathing can create space for self-awareness, helping you identify moments when you might be tempted to deceive yourself or others. Mindfulness practices also promote self-compassion. When we acknowledge our imperfections without judgment, we become more accepting of ourselves and others. This acceptance fosters a culture of honesty and authenticity. The rewards of truthfulness. Living truthfully brings numerous rewards that enhance our overall well-being. When we align our actions with our values, we cultivate a sense of integrity that fosters inner peace. This alignment helps reduce anxiety and stress, creating a solid foundation for happiness. Furthermore, Honest relationships are built on trust and mutual respect. As we practice truthfulness, we nurture connections that offer support and understanding. These relationships become a source of strength, providing comfort during challenging times and joy during moments of celebration. Living authentically also encourages personal growth. When we embrace our true selves, we are more likely to pursue our passions and interests. This pursuit can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment, enriching our lives with purpose and meaning. Embracing truthfulness in a complex world. In today's complex and often overwhelming world, the practice of truthfulness can serve as a beacon of hope. By embracing honesty, we take a courageous step toward creating a life rooted in authenticity and integrity. The journey may not always be easy, but the rewards, deep connections, personal growth, and inner peace, are invaluable. In a society that often prioritizes appearances over authenticity, your commitment to truthfulness can inspire others. By embodying this principle, you encourage those around you to embrace their true selves, fostering a ripple effect of honesty and connection. Ultimately, the practice of truthfulness is a journey toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life. As we navigate the complexities of modern existence, let us strive to be honest with ourselves and others, forging connections that resonate with authenticity and compassion. Through this commitment to truthfulness, we can create a world where peace and happiness flourish, enriching not only our own lives but also the lives of those around us. In today's rapidly changing world, living with integrity may seem like a difficult challenge. We're surrounded by countless distractions, pressures, and temptations that make it easy to compromise our values. Whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal lives, the desire to succeed or fit in often outweighs our commitment to doing what we know is right. However, cultivating integrity is the foundation for living a meaningful, peaceful, and happy life. It allows us to align our actions with our values and navigate the complexities of the modern world with clarity and confidence. Integrity, at its core, is about being true to yourself and to others. It's about ensuring that what you say, think, and do are in harmony with your deeper values and principles. When we live with integrity, we gain the respect of others, build stronger relationships, and find peace within ourselves. More importantly, it gives us a sense of purpose and direction, no matter the external circumstances. To cultivate integrity in modern life, we must first recognize the challenges that threaten it. One of the biggest challenges today is the overwhelming emphasis on image and external validation. Social media, advertising, and societal norms often push us to present ourselves in ways that are not authentic. We are encouraged to pursue material success, popularity, and perfection, often at the expense of our inner values. This disconnect between who we truly are and who we present ourselves to be can lead to feelings of emptiness, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Another challenge is the fast pace of life. We are constantly bombarded with information, tasks, and distractions. In such a busy environment, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We often make decisions based on immediate rewards or short-term gains, rather than considering the long-term consequences for ourselves and others. This lack of mindfulness can lead to actions that are out of alignment with our values, eroding our sense of integrity. Despite these challenges, it is possible to cultivate and maintain integrity in today's world. The first step is to slow down and reflect on what truly matters to you. This requires taking a step back from the constant noise and distractions of daily life and creating space for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what are my core values? What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? By gaining clarity on your values and goals, you can begin to align your actions with them, rather than being swayed by external pressures. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with awareness and non-judgment. When we are mindful, we are able to observe our thoughts, emotions, and actions without getting caught up in them. This allows us to make conscious choices that are in line with our values, rather than reacting impulsively or out of habit. For example, if you find yourself in a situation where you are tempted to lie or compromise your values for the sake of convenience, mindfulness can help you pause and reflect before acting. It gives you the space to consider the consequences of your actions and make a decision that aligns with your sense of integrity. In addition to mindfulness, self-discipline is essential for cultivating integrity. Self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, resist temptations, and stay focused on your long-term goals. In today's culture of instant gratification, self-discipline can be difficult to maintain. We are constantly surrounded by opportunities to indulge in short-term pleasures, whether it's through food, entertainment, or social media. However, true happiness and fulfillment come from pursuing meaningful goals and living in alignment with our values, rather than chasing fleeting pleasures. Developing self-discipline requires setting clear boundaries and creating habits that support your values. For example, if one of your values is honesty, you might make a commitment to always speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. This may involve practicing mindfulness in your conversations, taking a moment to reflect before you speak, and being mindful of how your words may affect others. Over time, this practice will become a habit, and living with integrity will become second nature. Another way to strengthen self-discipline is to identify the areas of your life where you are most likely to compromise your values. For example, if you tend to be impulsive with money, you might set a budget and make a conscious effort to spend in alignment with your financial goals and values. If you struggle with time management, you might create a daily schedule that prioritizes your most important tasks and values. By creating structure and setting clear intentions, you can reduce the likelihood of acting impulsively and stay focused on what truly matters. In addition to mindfulness and self-discipline, cultivating integrity also requires developing a sense of accountability. Accountability means taking responsibility for your actions and being honest with yourself and others about your mistakes. In today's society, it's easy to shift blame, make excuses, or hide our flaws in order to avoid criticism or rejection. However, true integrity involves acknowledging our shortcomings and striving to do better. One way to cultivate accountability is to practice regular self-reflection. This involves taking time to reflect on your actions, decisions, and behaviors, and asking yourself whether they are in alignment with your values. Are you living authentically? Are you being honest with yourself and others? Are you making choices that reflect your deeper values, or are you acting out of fear, insecurity, or desire for approval? By reflecting on these questions regularly, you can become more aware of where you may be compromising your integrity and make adjustments accordingly. Another way to develop accountability is to surround yourself with people who support your values and hold you to a higher standard. When we are part of a community that shares our values, we are more likely to stay true to those values, even when it's difficult. Surround yourself with people who encourage you to be your best self, who are honest with you about your flaws, and who hold you accountable for your actions. In turn, offer the same support to others. By fostering relationships based on trust, honesty, and mutual respect, you can create an environment where integrity thrives. Living with integrity also requires developing a sense of compassion and empathy for others. In today's competitive, success-driven culture, it's easy to become self-centered and focused on our own goals and desires. However, true integrity involves considering the impact of our actions on others and striving to live in a way that benefits not only ourselves but also those around us. This means treating others with kindness, fairness, and respect, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. One way to cultivate compassion is to practice active listening. In our fast-paced, technology-driven world, genuine human connection is often overlooked. We may engage in conversations out of obligation or politeness, but we are often distracted by our own thoughts, concerns, or devices. By practicing active listening, fully focusing on the other person without judgment or distraction, you can build stronger, more meaningful relationships based on trust and understanding. This not only strengthens your integrity but also fosters deeper connections with others. Another way to develop compassion is to practice forgiveness. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or anger not only harms our relationships but also erodes our own sense of integrity. When we forgive others, we free ourselves from the negative emotions that can cloud our judgment and lead to actions that are out of alignment with our values. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but it does mean letting go of the desire for revenge or retribution and choosing to act with kindness and understanding instead. Cultivating integrity in today's world may seem like a daunting task, but it is one of the most rewarding paths to a meaningful and fulfilling life. By practicing mindfulness, self-discipline, accountability, and compassion, we can align our actions with our values and live authentically, even in the face of external pressures and distractions. Integrity is not about perfection or always making the right choices. It's about striving to live in harmony with our deeper values and being honest with ourselves and others when we fall short. By committing to this practice, we can find true peace, happiness, and a sense of purpose in our lives, no matter what challenges we face. In today's world, the idea of living authentically has become a widely discussed concept, yet it remains elusive for many. Our culture places immense pressure on people to project images of success, happiness, and confidence, whether on social media, at work, or in social settings. But these projections often mask the truth of our inner selves, leading to an internal disconnect and dissatisfaction with life. Despite outward appearances, people are struggling with anxiety, burnout, loneliness, and the pressure to keep up with unrealistic societal standards. The Buddhist teaching that we must live truthfully and in alignment with our inner values, rather than for the sake of appearances, is more relevant today than ever before. One of the biggest obstacles to living authentically in today's culture is the emphasis on external validation. We often measure our worth by how we are perceived by others, how many likes or followers we have on social media, how successful we appear in our careers, or how well we conform to societal norms. This focus on external validation can lead us to stray far from our true selves. We might sacrifice our values to fit in or say what we think others want to hear rather than what is true to us. Over time, this disconnect between our true selves and the persona we project to the world leads to internal conflict and emotional exhaustion. Living authentically requires that we let go of this need for external validation and instead focus on living in alignment with our inner values. This does not mean disregarding the opinions of others or being indifferent to the impact we have on those around us. It means being honest with ourselves and ensuring that our actions reflect our true intentions. When we prioritize authenticity, we free ourselves from the exhausting cycle of constantly seeking approval and begin to experience a deeper sense of peace and contentment. One of the most immediate benefits of living authentically is the reduction of stress and anxiety. When we are constantly trying to live up to external expectations or present a version of ourselves that isn't true, we carry a tremendous mental burden. We may feel pressure to maintain a certain image at all times, which leads to stress and anxiety, especially when we feel we aren't living up to those standards. This stress can manifest in various ways: sleepless nights, overwork, emotional strain, and feelings of inadequacy. By living authentically, we relieve ourselves of the need to keep up with false appearances. Instead of worrying about how we are perceived, we can focus on what is truly important to us. This shift in perspective allows us to experience life with greater ease and peace. The energy that was once spent on maintaining a facade can now be directed towards meaningful pursuits, whether that be cultivating deeper relationships, pursuing passions, or engaging in personal growth. Another significant aspect of authenticity is the role it plays in building genuine relationships. In today's fast-paced, highly connected world, it's easy to fall into the trap of superficial connections. Social media, for instance, often encourages surface-level interactions that prioritize appearance over substance. While these platforms can create a sense of connectedness, they can also lead to feelings of isolation, as people compare themselves to idealized versions of others and feel inadequate in the process. Living authentically means showing up in our relationships as our true selves, without the masks of perfection or success that society often encourages us to wear. When we are honest about our struggles, our vulnerabilities, and our imperfections, we invite others to do the same. This authenticity fosters deeper connections because it allows for mutual understanding and trust. Rather than trying to impress others or live up to an ideal, we can simply be ourselves, which creates a foundation for more meaningful and supportive relationships. In contrast, relationships built on falsehoods or pretense tend to be fragile. When we project an image of perfection or success that doesn't reflect our true selves, we create distance between ourselves and others. People may be drawn to the image we present, but they are not truly connecting with who we are. This can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation, even in the midst of seemingly strong social connections. Authentic relationships, however, provide a sense of belonging and support that is essential for emotional well-being. Furthermore, living authentically can have a profound impact on our professional lives. In many workplaces, there is pressure to conform to certain norms or behaviors in order to succeed. This can lead to situations where people feel they must compromise their values or hide aspects of their true selves in order to fit in or get ahead. Over time, this can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction and burnout, as people feel disconnected from their work and struggle to find meaning in their professional lives. By embracing authenticity in our careers, we open the door to greater fulfillment and success. This doesn't mean rejecting the expectations of the workplace or refusing to adapt to professional environments. Rather, it means being honest about our values, strengths, and goals, and seeking work that aligns with these aspects of ourselves. When we pursue careers that reflect our true passions and values, we are more likely to find meaning and satisfaction in our work. Additionally, authenticity in the workplace fosters trust and respect from colleagues, which can lead to more collaborative and supportive professional relationships. Living authentically also helps us cultivate resilience in the face of challenges. Life is filled with ups and downs, and the way we navigate these challenges often depends on our ability to remain true to ourselves. When we are living authentically, we have a solid foundation of self-understanding and inner strength that allows us to weather difficult times. We are less likely to be swayed by external pressures or the opinions of others, and more able to make decisions that are aligned with our values. For example, in times of adversity, whether it be a personal loss, a career setback, or a relationship challenge, living authentically allows us to approach the situation with clarity and integrity. Instead of reacting impulsively or out of fear of judgment, we can take the time to reflect on what is truly important to us and make decisions that are in line with our values. This approach not only helps us cope with difficult situations more effectively but also leads to outcomes that are more fulfilling and aligned with our long-term well-being. Additionally, living authentically encourages us to practice self-compassion. In a society that often prioritizes success, achievement, and perfection, it's easy to be hard on ourselves when we fall short of expectations. We may feel pressure to always be on, to always be achieving, and to avoid showing any signs of weakness. However, this constant striving for perfection can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-criticism. By embracing authenticity, we acknowledge that we are human, imperfect, vulnerable, and always growing. Instead of judging ourselves harshly for our mistakes or shortcomings, we can practice self-compassion and kindness. This shift in mindset allows us to be more forgiving of ourselves and others, which in turn reduces stress and promotes emotional well-being. When we accept ourselves as we are, we create space for growth and self-improvement without the burden of unrealistic expectations. Moreover, authenticity plays a crucial role in fostering a sense of purpose. Many people struggle with feelings of aimlessness or a lack of direction in life, especially in a society that often prioritizes material success over personal fulfillment. Living authentically involves reflecting on what truly matters to us and aligning our actions with those values. This sense of alignment brings a greater sense of purpose and direction, as we begin to live in a way that feels meaningful and true to ourselves. For instance, someone who values creativity and self-expression may find fulfillment in pursuing artistic endeavors, even if it doesn't lead to conventional success or recognition. Another person who values helping others may find purpose in volunteer work or a career in service, even if it doesn't come with financial rewards. By living authentically, we begin to see that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements but from living in alignment with our deepest values and passions. Living authentically in today's culture requires a conscious effort to break free from societal pressures and focus on what truly matters to us. It involves letting go of the need for external validation, practicing self-control and truthfulness, and aligning our actions with our values. While this path may not always be easy, it offers a profound sense of inner peace, fulfillment, and connection with others. By embracing authenticity, we can reduce stress, build meaningful relationships, find greater fulfillment in our work, and navigate life's challenges with resilience and clarity. Ultimately, living authentically allows us to live a life of purpose and meaning, bringing us closer to the true happiness and peace that we seek. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with messages that encourage us to project a specific image, whether it's through social media, our professional lives, or personal relationships. The pressure to present ourselves as successful, attractive, or morally upright is immense. But beneath the surface, many people feel a growing disconnect between the life they are living and their deeper sense of self. This tension can manifest in various ways: stress, anxiety, a sense of emptiness, or even burnout. These problems stem not only from external demands but also from an inner struggle to reconcile who we are with who we think we need to be. The Buddha's teaching, particularly his warning against wearing the monk's robe without being worthy of it, offers a profound solution to this modern dilemma. It speaks to the core of authenticity and self-control, reminding us that true peace and happiness come not from external appearances but from living in alignment with our values and truth. By understanding and applying this wisdom, we can navigate the complexities of modern life in a way that brings lasting fulfillment. Let's begin by exploring the idea of authenticity. In the age of social media, it's easier than ever to curate an image of ourselves that may not reflect our true selves. People often highlight their successes, display their best moments, and omit their struggles. This creates a cycle of comparison, where we measure our own worth against the seemingly perfect lives of others. Yet, when we focus solely on appearances, we lose touch with the deeper aspects of who we are, our values, desires, and personal growth. The Buddha's teaching calls us to strip away these external masks and focus on what lies beneath. To wear the robe in a metaphorical sense means to embody qualities like integrity, truthfulness, and self-discipline. It's not enough to appear virtuous or successful, we must cultivate these qualities from within. Living authentically means being honest with ourselves and others about our imperfections, acknowledging our struggles, and embracing our vulnerabilities. This honesty leads to a sense of inner peace because we no longer feel the pressure to maintain a facade. Instead of chasing approval or validation, we can focus on aligning our actions with our true values. In today's culture, where instant gratification is often prioritized, the concept of self-control may seem outdated. We live in a world where we are constantly encouraged to indulge our desires, whether through material consumption, digital distractions, or the pursuit of pleasure. However, while indulging in these impulses may provide temporary satisfaction, it often leads to long-term dissatisfaction and inner turmoil. We end up chasing one desire after another, never feeling truly content. The Buddha's teaching on self-control is a powerful antidote to this cycle. Self-control is not about denying ourselves all pleasures or living an ascetic life, it's about developing the awareness and discipline to choose wisely. It means recognizing when certain behaviors, thoughts, or desires are leading us away from inner peace and redirecting our energy toward more meaningful pursuits. For example, in today's society, it's easy to become consumed by work or social obligations, neglecting our mental and emotional well-being. Practicing self-control allows us to set boundaries, prioritize our health, and make choices that support our overall well-being. Moreover, self-control helps us manage our emotional reactions. In a world filled with stress, competition, and conflict, it's easy to become overwhelmed by negative emotions like anger, jealousy, or frustration. The Buddha teaches that reacting impulsively to these emotions leads to suffering, both for ourselves and others. By cultivating self-control, we can pause, reflect, and choose a more skillful response. This not only reduces conflict in our relationships but also brings us greater emotional balance. Truthfulness is another central theme in the Buddha's teaching. In modern culture, where white lies and half-truths are often seen as acceptable, the value of truthfulness can seem less important. However, dishonesty, whether with others or ourselves, creates inner conflict. When we lie, we may feel immediate relief or gain short-term benefits, but over time, dishonesty erodes trust, both in ourselves and in our relationships. This can lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and anxiety, which prevent us from experiencing true peace. Being truthful doesn't mean we have to be brutally honest or hurtful in our communication. Instead, it means speaking and acting in ways that are aligned with our values and that promote harmony. In the context of modern life, this could mean being honest about our needs and boundaries in relationships, admitting when we've made mistakes, or acknowledging when we're struggling rather than pretending everything is fine. By living truthfully, we build trust with others, foster deeper connections, and experience the peace that comes from being authentic. For those seeking a happy and meaningful life, the Buddhist teachings offer practical guidance. First, it's essential to cultivate awareness. In the rush of modern life, we often move from one task to the next without pausing to reflect on whether our actions align with our values. By developing mindfulness, the practice of being present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we can begin to notice where we are out of alignment. Are we acting out of fear, insecurity, or the need for approval? Or are we acting from a place of truth and integrity? This awareness is the first step toward making conscious changes in our lives. Once we are aware of where we are out of alignment, the next step is to practice self-compassion. The journey to authenticity and inner peace is not always easy, and we will inevitably make mistakes along the way. It's important to approach ourselves with kindness and patience, rather than harsh self-criticism. The Buddha teaches that inner peace comes not from perfection, but from the ongoing effort to live in accordance with our values. By being gentle with ourselves, we create the space to learn and grow. In practical terms, we can begin incorporating these teachings into our daily lives through small, mindful actions. For example, we might start by setting aside time each day for reflection, asking ourselves whether our actions and decisions are aligned with our deeper values. We can practice self-control by being mindful of how we spend our time and energy, choosing activities that nourish us rather than deplete us. In our relationships, we can strive to be honest and open, even when it's uncomfortable, knowing that truthfulness builds trust and strengthens connections. The Buddhist teachings also encourage us to consider the broader impact of our actions. In today's interconnected world, where our choices often affect not just ourselves but also the environment, society, and future generations, living with integrity means considering how our actions contribute to the well-being of others. This might involve making ethical choices in our consumption, supporting causes that align with our values, or acting with compassion toward others, even in difficult situations. Ultimately, the Buddhist teaching on the worthiness of the robe is a call to live with integrity, authenticity, and self-discipline. It reminds us that true happiness and peace cannot be found in external appearances or material success. Instead, they arise from living in alignment with our deepest values, practicing self-control in the face of temptation, and being truthful in our relationships with ourselves and others. In today's world, where so many people feel disconnected from their true selves and overwhelmed by external pressures, these teachings offer a path to greater peace and fulfillment. By embodying the qualities that the robe represents, integrity, self-control, and truthfulness, we can free ourselves from the cycle of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction that plagues modern life. We can cultivate inner peace and experience the deep contentment that comes from living a life that is true to who we are. This path is not easy, but it is accessible to anyone who is willing to take the journey. It requires a commitment to self-reflection, a willingness to face our imperfections, and the courage to make changes when necessary. But the rewards are profound: a life of authenticity, inner peace, and meaningful connections with others. By living in accordance with these timeless principles, we can find happiness and fulfillment, not in external achievements or appearances, but in the depth of our own being. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's reading and found it inspiring. We look forward to seeing you next time as we continue our journey through the teachings of the Buddha. Your presence means a lot to us, and we can't wait to share more wisdom with you. Until then, take care and stay mindful.